That is very important to function properly, because at a local government, it's where you implement, whether you are national, province, and local government. So we're saying we need to strengthen intergovernmental relations, even if it means amending the legislation to make sure that integrated planning for optimal delivery of service at local government happens. This is what needs to be done. And we're saying all planning, all spheres, all three spheres, the planning needs to be linked to, needs to happen at a local government.
Cheers.
And unfortunately, I don't have a class. Can I have a class? And then this, when we talk about integrated development plan, it's not only the local government that needs to do that. National, province, when we're planning, they also need to look at what is this integrated development plan of local government. Then they integrate their plan into that. The question of public administration, you'll remember we had a concrete resolution about single public service, and at the commission we said yes, the first stage of single public service, which is a PEM bill, has been implemented. It was clear when this particular resolution was being implemented that there are areas that are difficult to implement because of the powers and functions and the constitutionality of all the three spheres of government. And therefore, it's going to take a long time, but the first part that really gives us an opportunity to share, you know, the skills in all spheres, the skills of the bureaucracy was implemented. And then on traditional leaders, the bill was, there's a bill that was introduced in Parliament, the bill that provides for recognition of Khoi and San communities, and the committee is going to be briefed. The first briefing of the committee would be on the 27th of October. So that is one area. There were other areas that were raised on traditional leaders that we still need to process, and surely if there's any policy decision that needs to happen, it will only happen at the policy conference. The question of municipal boundary demarcation. Now, here we spoke about the local government system, as I was saying, that is evolving, and the demarcation, there are two aspects to the demarcation. One, what was raised is the frequency of the demarcation that is really destabilizing municipalities. And this is an area that needs to be taken at an appropriate level, where we need to start saying how frequent must the demarcation happen of boundaries, both inner and outer boundaries. And the other aspect is relating to the ANC. We have processes where for demarcation to happen. There are certain committees where different parties are involved. So all parties know much before time when something is going to happen. So we're urging them to participate. ANC branches need to participate in that process so that they would know what would happen even before the time. Now, the recommendations around the immediate action by the ANC, which were not necessary policy resolutions. Since we're going to local government, we're talking of 60 retention of councillors, which we've done before the national and provincial elections. But we are qualifying this by saying definitely this should be linked to performance. You can't just retain people who are not performing. If they are performing, then they'll be retained. Those who are not performing will be removed. The nomination from the leagues as part of the ANC, that was agreed to. There must be minimum requirements which needs to be formulated if you elect councillors that need to perform. There needs to be minimum requirements of what they need to have to do that. We spoke about public participation and community report backs, which are not policy issues. We're emphasizing things that we emphasize every day, door-to-door campaign and all that. ANC branches having their own program. And I think what is significant here that we've decided, which is something that we don't normally do, that we must consider announcing our mayoral candidates in big metros and other big municipalities way before time. So we don't wait for the day before elections to announce the mayors, which is something that was agreed. We noted substantial progress in the implementation of previous conference resolutions. The deploy is to continue with the implementation of outstanding resolution and provide regular feedback to appropriate structures of the ANC structure to strengthen capacity to monitor and evaluate ongoing work and performance of their deployees. I spoke about back to basic, that really need to happen. Most areas are involved there already. There were areas. There were new areas that were raised at the commission, which were channeled for the next policy conference. So we noted those areas, but we didn't even discuss them because they were not for this representation of the youth in local government structure. In fact, in all three spheres of government, representation of the youth to be part of those structures, opportunities for the youth to be trainees in local government, creation of employment opportunity for young professionals at a local government administration, consider report on review of allocation of powers and function between local and district municipality. So those are the issues that were raised at the council, at the commission itself. Even the other yeah. I think lastly we said the outstanding resolutions of whatever we need to give effect to the resolution on integrated planning and service delivery, and the NEC should continue reviewing the implementation of this strategy. Thanks, Chair.
Comrade PG, do you want to add anything?
Just let me emphasize 5 points. The first is that, and this we reported to the plenary as well, that the ANC, if you like, is in the business of transforming lives, transforming the spatial arrangements in which people live in South Africa, which is still predominantly apartheid-style spatial arrangements, and creating effective institutions and transforming the existing ones that we've inherited. And clearly we're doing all of this to, as I said, change the living conditions of people and the business conditions as well, but also to win elections. And elections will happen sometime between May 16th and August 16th next year. We also recognize as the ANC that to win elections, you need to win the confidence of people. And the way in which we intend to continue to win the confidence of people is to deliver upon people's needs and to jack up the machinery that we have and that we manage at a national sphere level, at a provincial sphere level, but particularly within the local sphere itself. The second point is to understand that when you write about local government, that we have a local government system that's very young. It's 15 years young in December this year. Secondly, it's a system that is evolving. So when the chair talks about looking at structures and types of municipalities, and I'll illustrate this for you in a moment, this is an evolving system. If you read any, you've got a professor here, so you can ask her. These institutions are not created in 1 year or 5 years or 10 years. They're created over many, many decades. And we are in the process of creating democratic institutions at the local level. So when we talk about the determination or demarcation of boundaries, both internal and external, this is part of the evolution of the system. So some of you might be aware that we have municipalities where there's 10 or 15,000 people living, 4 or 5 councillors that are looking after them. At some stage, the demarcation board thought, well, that's okay. As you look at the viability of these municipalities, you see that that's not tenable. You can't survive, particularly if there's no revenue base or a minimal revenue base. And so we've made efforts, both as the demarcation board in its own right prior to 2013, but when this administration came into office as well. So where we have 278 municipalities today, we're likely to have close to 260 municipalities by the time we go to elections, if the current efforts to disrupt that process by certain political parties doesn't succeed. You can work out which political parties I'm talking about. Now, the chair also mentioned that part of this system evolution is to go back to the Constitution, and in particular the Structures Act, and ask, are the structures that we put into that act in the late 1990s or early 2000s still compatible with what is required today? So for example, the Constitution says that we will have Category A municipalities. In the Act, we actually only have defined one type of Category A municipality, and that's a metropolitan municipality. What we recognize in places like Northern Cape, where you have large areas with small populations and distributed over big areas, and certain other parts of the country where, let's call it the more rural parts of our country, we need different types of Category A municipalities as well. So as part of reviewing the structures and the Structures Act, we intend to look at the local government model and come up with different systems. The third area under the local government system, which many talk about, as has been mentioned, is the financing model of local government. Now, we work on a historical premise that whereas national and provincial government generate their income from income tax and all of those taxes that are collected at a national level, local government is supposed to derive a lot of its revenue from property rates and from service charges that are collected. That happens to a large extent in many municipalities, but there are also municipalities where it doesn't happen because there isn't an economic base. So with the Treasury, COPTA and SALGA, there's a process at work now, which will take a bit of time, to look at the financing model of local government so that we can make it more sustainable over time. The third point is to emphasize what the Chair said about evaluating the performance of ANC councillors prior to the ANC, what we call list process or candidate selection process, so that that determines who goes back to municipal council and who doesn't, and how we work together in that regard. At the same time, we've got to constantly review the kind of conditions and the support that councillors receive. I think more and more we recognize that they're in the front line of the interaction with community. That even if there's a problem that belongs to a national or provincial department, it's your local government councillor that is asked to account and explain. So they need more support than they probably currently have to get the right kind of interaction going with the public and to get the responsiveness that is actually required. One of the things that we do need to do a lot better at, because of the kind of three-sphere governance system that we have, is in terms of promoting integrated planning and delivery. In other words, what happens within a municipality, whether it is housing or water or refuse collection, and they belong to different spheres of government as responsibilities, needs to be carefully integrated both in the planning stage and in the delivery stage, and incorporated in the integrated development plans of municipalities, so that we know where a school is going, where a clinic is going, where a water main pipe is going, and so on. And the developments then take place in a much more coordinated way as well. As part of the review of the Intergovernmental Relations Act, we're also looking at how do we get greater capacity to intervene constructively and support constructively, both within the municipal sphere but also the provincial sphere as well. So we have Section 100 and Section 139 in the Constitution, but we don't have legislative provisions to guide those interventions. So that's work in progress currently in our area. The last point is the issue of service delivery and infrastructure, where clearly for many of you every protest is a service delivery protest. And it isn't actually, because there's all sorts of things that get mixed with the concept of 50 or 100 or more people protesting. But there's a lot of work that we've done already as a country, but there's a lot of work still to be done in investing in new infrastructure, but more particularly focusing on maintenance of infrastructure and making sure that municipalities set aside 7 to 8% of their budgets for the maintenance of infrastructure, so that that infrastructure actually lasts longer. Now, all of this will be enhanced through the Back to Basics campaign, as the Chair has mentioned, which we saying that conference is deciding will be not just a local government function, but it's an all of government campaign, where all spheres of government must contribute towards making sure that the basics at a municipal level are done in terms of interacting with communities and serving them better. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Comrade PG and Sis Indy. Members of the media, we have some time constraints. The ETC is outside and the plenary is waiting for us. The broadcasters have to go quickly to set up, and we have to go for the president closing address anytime soon. So I suggest if there are any questions that you think if you can't ask it now and here, you may die tonight. If you don't ask that question, I will allow you if you may die, because I want to save you. Thank you very much. That brings an end. We will allow ETC.
It made life too easy for us. I was expecting some fun.
Comrades, Amandla, Gawetu, bus coordinators, make sure you collect food for the comrades in your bus from Hall, Jesse Holbani. Can you get us the name of the hall? But bus coordinators, it is your responsibility to collect food parcels from a venue you are just getting from the DSG. As soon as the president joins us, we will proceed to reading the declaration, and then the president will do his closing remarks. Bus coordinators, you will get the food parcels in Hall 5. Food parcels in Hall 5. President uland phatha ubani manje ngoba basilibazisa. B. Come to pa. Amandla! Ngawethu! This was a good NGC, comrades. This was a very good NGC. And I now call upon Comrade Jeff to deliver the declaration of the NGC. Kabane, ibambe lapho. Ibambe kabane. Comrades, it's very good to sing. Kumnandi kodwa ke ake sivale. Comrades, leaders of delegations, ake nibabambe. We are late already. Comrades, we are late, we are behind time. Siyavuma, sinavalo. Thank you, comrades. Thank you. Comrade Jeff Khadebe. Yes. Comrade Jeff, can you please come and deliver the declaration?
Comrade President, members of the NEC, delegates to this 4th National General Council. This is the declaration of the 4th National General Council of the African National Congress. It reads as follows. We, the over 3,000 delegates to the 4th National General Council of the ANC, gathered here in Johannesburg in the year of the 60th anniversary of the Freedom Charter, declare for our country and the world to know that the struggle for socio-economic liberation for all of our people remains on course. Over the last 3 days, we undertook a critical review of our work towards the realization of the vision of the Freedom Charter, evaluated progress in implementing the resolutions of the 53rd National Conference, and how we give effect to the commitments we made in the 2014 ANC's election manifesto. This National General Council is a culmination of a process of engagement by ANC structures, alliance partners, and other sectors of society that reinforced the culture of debate and retrospection in the ANC. Consistent with the traditions of our movement, we frankly and honestly, within our established traditions of criticism and self-criticism, interrogated our strengths, our weaknesses, our achievements, and our shortcomings. We have affirmed our determination to defend the essential character of the ANC as a progressive, revolutionary movement that is rooted amongst the people. Practices and tendencies inconsistent with the values of the African National Congress threaten the effectiveness of our movement as an instrument of liberation. This is a critical moment for the national democratic revolution, containing both great possibilities for decisive advances and a significant risk of reversal. All people, our sectors, must harness their collective will and efforts towards creating a better life for all. Therefore, we reaffirm our resolve to root out corruption, factionalism, buying of members, and gatekeeping. We agreed to reinforce measures to inculcate within our cadreship the values of service, selflessness, integrity, and discipline. This NGC paid particular attention to the standing, capacity, and powers of the Integrity Commission established following a resolution of the 53rd National Conference. We agreed that the decisions of the Integrity Commission are binding and that the Commission should be better resourced to fulfill its mandate. To confront the practice of factionalism in leadership elections, we agreed that the formalization of lobby groups and the promotion of slates should be disciplinary offenses. Branch delegates should vote according to their branch mandate at elective conferences. And the practice of consolidating preferences at regional or provincial levels must end. The ANC branch is at the center of our work and must ensure that members are actively engaged in political work and communities are mobilized to effect change in their lives. We agreed that the archives are immense importance and we must dedicate more resources to capture our history and preserve our records. Therefore, the Liberation Heritage Institute should become a national resource located in the state to provide South African society with significant insight into the struggle against colonialism and the struggle against apartheid. The NGC recognizes the advances our movement and government have made towards the emancipation of women and the promotion of gender equality. Nevertheless, we commit to intensifying efforts for the total liberation and empowerment of women. We emerge from this National General Council with a clear sense of the task we must undertake to advance the struggle for economic freedom, recognizing that we do so under difficult international and domestic economic conditions. The global economic crisis continues to negatively impact on the economies of the developing countries, with low global growth and depressed commodity prices being the emerging challenges. We have accordingly agreed to accelerate efforts to mitigate job losses in vulnerable sectors and create new opportunities in potentially job-creating areas. Uniting all South Africans around the National Development Plan to promote inclusive growth and development and eradicate the triple scourge of unemployment, poverty, and inequality is an imperative. We agreed to address weaknesses that exist in several agencies of the state. The capacity of the democratic developmental state to coordinate implementation of policy is critical for optimal utilization of our human and material resources in order to maximize the impact of our programs and projects. We must intensify increased job creation and employment opportunities through mechanisms such as localization, SMMEs, and cooperative support, and instruments like the procurement set-asides, and increase ownership and participation by Black people in the economy, with a particular focus on the youth and women and people with disability. Ownership of land is an integral part of economic transformation. We support current proposed ceilings on different forms of land ownership and use, and this should find expression through the introduction of legislation. We must consider legal options with regard to land currently owned by foreign nationals within the context of what the Constitution provides. We must review agricultural financing in order to ensure that financing models are favorable to developing farmers. The NGC welcomes measures to make quality education more accessible to all. We should increase the number of young people in postgraduate programs. The NGC noted that overall crime continues to decline. However, rates of violent crime remain stubbornly high despite the initiatives aimed at crimes such as murder and armed robbery. We call on all our people to join hands in the fight against crime. We shall take particular steps to combat the killing of police. Gender-based violence and safety of people from contact crimes is a societal responsibility that we must address. Our government must move with speed on an integrated response through the criminal justice system. The ANC, together with its alliance partners, must work together with communities to mobilize against alcohol and substance abuse. We agreed that the ANC must intensify its involvement in the battle of ideas. Further, we should accelerate the radical transformation of the ICTs as a means to contribute to economic growth and development. The corporate governance challenges facing the SABC should be resolved speedily so that that institution can fulfill its public responsibility. We reaffirm the urgent need for media transformation, accountability, and diversity, and this includes the parliamentary inquiry on the feasibility and desirability of a media appeals tribunal in line with the Constitution. We remain seized of the task of building a new and better world in Africa. The ANC reiterates our support for regional integration and Agenda 2063, the AU's development program. The ANC remains committed to internationalism, and we support the struggle for national self-determination and a multilateral approach to the management of global issues. We reiterate our solidarity with the people of Palestine and support the isolation of businesses in the United Nations list that operate in occupied territories in Palestine. We advocate for the self-determination, freedom, and independence of Western Sahara. We support the call by Cuba for the return of the Guantanamo Bay and the lifting of United States economic embargo against Cuba. The National General Council noted the processes underway under the auspices of the African Union, including South Africa, to review Africa's participation in the International Criminal Court. We welcome the adoption of the Sustainable Developmental Goals by the UN General Assembly as a firm global covenant to bring about a more equitable, sustainable, and just world. The NGC recognizes that for the ANC to continue the process of transforming our society and to realize the objectives of this phase of our struggle, it is imperative that we retain our decisive mandate from our people. We will therefore work very hard to ensure that we gain an overwhelming majority in the upcoming local government elections through consolidating our support base and winning new constituencies. The Back to Basics program should be at the core of building an effective and efficient local government, reversing apartheid geography by ensuring spatial integration and accelerating access to basic services is achievable through strengthening integrated planning and delivery mechanism across all spheres of government. We should fast-track the implementation of the Presidential Commission review of provinces. We thank our sister parties from the former liberation movements for their support and participation during this NGC. The ANC continues to reflect the hope and embody the aspirations of South African people. Our movement remains the most effective instrument for the achievement of a united, non-racial, non-sexist, democratic and prosperous South Africa. We close this National General Council conscious of the great responsibilities on our shoulders, individually and collectively, to strive for and achieve a better South Africa, and a better world. We should move with agency, with conscientiousness and consciousness. As we leave here, we recall the closing statement of the 3,000 delegates who gathered at the Congress of the People in Kliptown on the 26th of June 1955, 60 years ago. I quote, "Let all those who love their people and their country now say, as we say here, these freedoms we will fight for, side by side, throughout our lives, until we have won our liberty."
Thank you very much, Comrade Jeff. Thanks, comrades. We now call on President Jacob Zuma to come and deliver the closing address. But comrades, I take it the declaration has been agreed to. Ele, two.
Sorry, Chair. Sorry, Chair. Sorry, Chair. Just one. Sorry, Chair.
Yes, Ubani.
Sorry, Chair.
Yes.
I'm Itumele Musala from the Northwest Province.
Yes.
There's one area which we think we need to make an addition on the declaration. It's on page 2.
NGC ayisavumi.
No, Chair.
Sivumelene nge-declaration.
That particular paragraph, Chair,
Sivumelene.
negates the Constitution and through the eye of the...
Comrade Chair. Comrade Chair. We don't want to depart. Ka spirit is wrong. Amandla. Awethu. Matla. Ya rona. Matimba. Kaina. All power. All power. Thank you very much, comrades. Comrade Deputy President, Comrade National Chairperson, ANC officials, members of the National Executive Committee, members of our tripartite alliance, plus SANCO, veterans of our struggles, our special guests, the international friends from China, India, Brazil, Russia, Angola, Mozambique, Zimbabwe, and Namibia. Comrade delegates, we have come to the end of our most successful and most productive National General Council of the ANC.
We end on a higher note because the National General Council has been marked by high level of robust discussion and discipline. We congratulate all the delegates for reaffirming the standing of the ANC as a leader of society and as a disciplined, vibrant, and dynamic instrument for social change. One of our unique strengths as the ANC are self-criticism and self-correction. In opening this National General Council, we presented serious and uncomfortable challenges affecting the movement and invited delegates to engage these in the commissions and provide solutions. The reports from the commissions have indicated that indeed serious reflection went into the discussions. Organization building and renewal was a key factor in this National General Council in our determination to rebuild the ANC and renew the character of our glorious movement. We announced that our membership figures stood at 700, listen properly, 769,820 and 70 members, down from 100.2 million in 2012. This correctly shocked the delegates and membership because we all wanted to see a growing ANC all the time. As always, such a figure at the conference reflects audited members in good standing. As is also known, this is usually lower than the figures on the database, which would include all categories, such as those whose membership had lapsed, those who are still on probation, and those who have been, unfortunately, victims of gatekeeping and membership system administrative problems. The ANC membership tends to grow leading up to elective conferences. The NGC has also taken resolutions to improve the membership administration system and to eliminate tendencies such as gatekeeping and the bulk buying of votes. With the implementation of all our immediate elections, we intend to have all 1.3 million names that are currently on the database to be confirmed as members in good standing sooner, or at least by 2017. Let us all work hard to achieve that goal. Comrades, the strengthening of ANC branches to enable them to perform their constitutional tasks has been emphasized by the NGC. The ANC branch manual clarifies the role of the branch as follows. It says, and I quote, "The branch is the basic unit of the ANC and the most important structure in the movement. It is in the branch that ANC members put to use their skills, energy, political insight, and experience in a program to transform society. The branch is the means through which we organize our people. It is the branch which must identify ANC sympathizers and supporters who can be recruited as ANC members, and through political induction and involvement in the programs of the movement can be developed into tried and tested cadres. It is the ANC branch which is the first point of contact with the broader community. The branch must respond to the needs and interests of the community and provide clear direction to the community on the most important issues facing it. A healthy, active, and growing branch is a key to a strong, influential, and successful ANC, unquote. And comrades, I would advise you to go and read the manual of the branches. It is long. It tells it all. How to go about to work to strengthen the branch. After all, if you talk about organization building, at the center of it is organizing the branch and making the branch to function. So it is important that all of us read the manual. We indeed urge comrades to seriously read the branch manual. If we implement its directives, we will not have problems in ensuring the correct functioning of the branches. Let us also grow the ANC, not only in terms of quantity, but also quality. Political education, therefore, remains paramount. But I must say, you indeed demonstrated quality in the debate as you engage on these issues. Let us deepen it. In this regard, the NGC has agreed to reinforce measures to inculcate within our cadreship the values of service, selflessness, integrity, and discipline. Beyond membership, the ANC also needs to win back all our traditional supporters who have been dissatisfied ahead of the local government elections. We will win them back based on how we conduct ourselves as members and also how we eliminate how we implement the good policies of the ANC. The matters of promoting unity, discipline, cohesion, respect, and the restoration of order in the organization have been endorsed. wholeheartedly by the NGC. The NGC has also reaffirmed our resolve to root out corruption and factionalism. In this regard, the NGC has agreed that the Integrity Commission should be fully supported and resourced so that it can promote ethical behavior within the ANC. However, the NGC has also cautioned that the Integrity Commission should not be abused for factional purposes or as an instrument to fight certain individuals within the movement. To enhance the fight against corruption in the movement, in government and the private sector, the NGC has recommended the following. 1, civil servants, including those in the security cluster, should be prioritized, periodically rotated from one employment site to another, so as to circumvent growth of unprofessional and frequently corrupt relations with citizens. Service providers and other persons they interact with and or are responsible for. 2, government should conduct a lifestyle audits for all employees of the state and its related entities. 3, the vetting process should be expedited for government employees and its related entities. 4, there should be a single vetting agency for the state to vet all strategically placed civil servants, including state-owned enterprises, including those who reject promotion even though it comes with an improved remuneration package. But you know, as a phone, we don't know. The ANC Deployment Committee should also ensure proper vetting is undertaken prior to deployment of comrades. The ANC also challenges the private sector to subject itself to instruments of financial interest, disclosure, vetting, and lifestyle audits. Comrades, this National General Council has centered its discussions on measures to accelerate economic growth, create jobs, reduce poverty, and improve livelihoods. In its deliberations on the economy, a number of resolutions were taken, and I will mention just a few. Given the stress in the mining sector as a result of the current low commodity price cycle, the ANC calls on parties to exercise restraint and moderation in order to save jobs and to sustain the sector's potential for future growth and development. The ANC has also called for a speedy promulgation of the amendments for the Mining and Petroleum Resources Development Act to remove uncertainty. The NGC has also called for the resolution of the current dispute over the interpretation of the terms of the country's mining charter is also urgently required. To promote energy security, the implementation of the energy mix is a priority, including coal, renewables, gas, nuclear, and hydro. The recommendation by the Presidential Operation Pakisa program to advance offshore oil and gas exploration should be implemented, but in a manner that does not damage South Africa's water and other environmental resources. Comrades, the ANC fully supports ongoing efforts by the NEDLAC constituencies to advance discussions on a minimum wage in the South African economy. On black economic empowerment, the NGC resolved that greater conceptual clarity is required in order to improve and broaden the transformative impact of our various black economic empowerment initiatives. The NGC noted that while we have made progress in some areas, there have also been reversals and unintended consequences with regard to some of the BEE interventions. Processes need to be undertaken to iron out such problems and to develop more sophisticated mechanisms to achieve BEE-related economic transformation. The NGC called for a review of the Preferential Procurement Policy Framework Act to engage the implementation of set-asides that work more effectively in promoting black businesses. The NGC also directed government to take all necessary steps to save South Africa's steel production industry. However, such assistance and protection should be conditional on the steel producers giving firm and specific undertakings with regard to job retention, future investment, commitments, and future pricing, which will facilitate downstream competitiveness. Comrades and friends, the NGC directed that the 50-50 parity between men and women principle must be implemented in full in the ANC and in government. Preferential procurement rules need to be amended to make specific allocation to women enterprises, including cooperatives. The NGC has supported the need to review legislation to facilitate the removal of unused and inequitable water rights allocations in order to ensure a more equitable distribution of water. The proposal is that national government should be the custodian of water and water trading will be abolished. On human settlement, the ANC government should implement the military veterans housing program and the human settlements and gender empowerment program. In addition, the mining towns human settlements program, including basic services, must be prioritized. The NGC also resolved that we must improve our monitoring of RDP houses, and the resale of RDP houses must be prevented. Comrades, to promote sports, the NGC resolved that the sport funding model in government needs to be completely overhauled so that sports can meet its mandate, and that this requires the necessary levels of investment by all of government, including allocation from all provinces from the equitable share. Comrades and friends, the ANC has called for a speedy review of the powers of the school governing bodies, the fast-tracking of the introduction of inspectors in schools, and to build more schools in villages and townships, especially special schools. The NGC has also expressed support to the annual national assessments in schools and have urged that challenges relating to its implementation must be resolved. The NGC has welcomed the launch of Operation Pakisa on information and communication technologies in schools and has urged the use of ICT nationally in our schools. Comrades, we need to confront the findings that Black African children receive 3.5 hours of teaching per day, as opposed to 6.5 hours in former whites-only schools, as revealed in a study. This results in a 3-year gap in their schooling career. In this regard, let me reiterate our call to all teachers to be in school on time, in class, on task teaching for at least 7 hours a day. The ANC will engage SADU in this regard. The NGC will intensify the implementation of programs to curb the scourge of teenage pregnancy, and such programs will target both the boy and the girl child. The ANC government was directed to fast-track the implementation of the National Health Insurance and for funds to be made available for this purpose. Comrades, the achievement of radical economic transformation depends on progress in building a capable developmental state. we have resolved to urgently and comparatively address weaknesses that exist in several agencies of the state. The NGC reiterated that provinces must be reviewed to strengthen the democratic state and its developmental mandate, as well as the allocation of powers and functions, planning across government. An ANC task team will interface with government to ensure implementation of the resolution. With regards to our preparations for elections, the NGC has noted the voting trends in the metros and that this requires the movement to review its strategies. With regard to rural development and land reforms, the NGC on this issue says that there is progress, and indeed the willing buyer, willing seller policy has been addressed through the promulgation of the Property Evaluation Act 2014, which will codify the just and equitable principle as reflected in Section 25 of the Constitution. The NGC has resolved that government should continue to strengthen the security of tenure for farm workers. The extension of security of tenure amendment bill will be an important step in this direction. Land rights for people in communal areas should be formalized such that security of tenure is secured and such land can have commercial value. In order to ensure against the risk of people becoming landless in this process, a limitation clause in the title deed giving the state the right of first refusal must be secured. The NGC resolved that there should be equitable access to land for women and that their interests be protected. Unemployed graduates as well as youth from rural areas should receive dedicated support and be prioritized in access to land through the lease of state land. The expropriation amendment bill currently before Parliament is critical to ensure that the state is able to expropriate land in terms of the Constitution and should be expedited. We resolved that the policy conference should finalize the details of the policy on the ownership of land by foreign nationals. The National General Council supports the current proposed ceilings on different forms of land ownership and use, and this should find expression through the introduction of legislation. On land tenure, it was noted that the introduction of the Regulation of Land Holdings Bill will introduce the Land Commission and go a long way in resolving current disputes. The bill will also introduce land ceilings as outlined in previous conference resolutions. Comrades, on international relations, the NGC confirmed the support for the African Union Agenda 2063 vision, recognizing that it is a continuation of African Renaissance philosophy, and recommended that as a movement, it is incumbent upon us to popularize the 7 aspirations. The aspirations are: 1, a prosperous Africa based on inclusive growth and sustainable development. 2, an integrated continent, politically united, based on the ideals of Pan-Africanism. 3, an Africa of good governance, democracy, human rights, justice, and the rule of law. 4, a peaceful and secured Africa. 5, an Africa where development is people-driven, relying particularly on potential of women and youth. And Africa as a strong and influential global player and partner. The ANC disagrees with the double standard and selective actions of the International Criminal Court. In this regard, the NGC has recommended that government reviews South Africa's membership of the ICC. Comrades, our last important assignment as chair of G77 plus China will be to lead the group to Paris for the United Nations Framework for Climate Change Convention negotiations in defense of the Durban Platform of Action, informed by the principle of common but differentiated responsibilities and capabilities. On communications, the ANC has resolved to accelerate the implementation of ANC conference resolutions regarding media transformation, accountability, and diversity. This includes a parliamentary inquiry on the feasibility and desirability of a media appeals tribunal in line with the Constitution of the Republic of South Africa. Comrades and friends, the ANC carries the hopes of millions of South Africans. We remain seized with the responsibility of working to achieve a truly united, non-racial, non-sexist, democratic, and prosperous society. This NGC has taken us a step further towards the implementation of that goal. We go back with a clear mandate to grow the ANC and ensure that it further consolidates democracy and that it continues to lead our people to prosperity. Comrades, let me remind all that preparatory work for the local elections has begun, and all cadres must put shoulder to the wheel to ensure a decisive victory for the ANC in 2016. Comrades, we thank all the delegates who were here, who participated enthusiastically to discuss the matters of their organization and displayed a very high quality of understanding and indeed very disciplined. We would like also to thank local and international guests who have been with us from the beginning to now. Your being with us made us feel warm and supported by the globe. You represented the world. We'd like to thank all who have participated to ensure the success of our National General Council. We also thank ANC staff for their hard work, as well as the law enforcement agencies and all services and service providers. This is your organization. This is the organization of the people, the African National Congress, the hope of the millions of our people. In the last few days, we met and communicated with the country about their organization, addressed challenges, and emerged with solutions, as we always do. Comrades and friends, may you all have a safe journey home. Thank you for your being with us. Amanza! Awethu! Matla! Yarona! Lumhla sibuyayo, lumhla sibuya, lumhla sibuyayo, kuthula kuthi, lumhla sibuya, lumhla sibuya, lumhla sibuyayo, kuthula kuthi tu. Kokal, kokal, ogoduma embamba phezulu kwentaba. Kokal, kokal, ogoduma embamba phezulu kwentaba. Lumhla sibuya, lumhla sibuya, lumhla sibuyayo, kuthula kuthi, lumhla sibuya, lumhla sibuya, lumhla sibuyayo, kuthula kuthi tu. Kokal, kokal, ogoduma embamba phezulu kwentaba. Kokal, kokal, ogoduma embamba phezulu kwentaba. Lumhla sibuya, lumhla sibuya, lumhla sibuyayo, kuthula kuthi, Lumhla sibuya, lumhla sibuya, lumhla sibuya yo, gothula kutitu, kokal, kokal, ogoduma embamba, phezulu kwentamo, kokal, kokal, ogoduma embamba, phezulu kwentaba. Thank you very much. Siyabonga. No.
Ausjaltat, Ilis, Selbstjaltat, Belagit, Ausjaltat, Ilis, Ausjaltat, Belagit, Ausjaltat, Yamaza, Ausjaltat, Yamaza, Appelavat, Belagit, Appelavat, Isowit, Appelavat, Isavit, Ausjaltat, Belagit, Ausjaltat, Kilamen. Ujani Kanye, Ujani Kanye, Appelavat, Belagit, Appelavat, Yamasa, Ausjaltat, Belagit, Selbstjaltat, Kilamen. What you love, in cocaine, oh Mandela, in cocaine, oh Sisulu, in cocaine, oh Johnny Kanye, If we don't talk,